So, hey Capricorn, my name is Chris, and this is your beautiful reading for whenever you freaking find it in 2026. I'm doing 10 cards actually, and it's just a frequency checkup, so to speak. So, there's the Nine of Swords and there's the Six of Cups, and there's already a story here to tell, but I'm going to deal a little more. There's you as if it is the answer to the Nine of Swords, there's the Four of Swords and the Page of Pentacles. You got everything you need. You have everything you need to build, to create, to go the next step, whatever the next step is for you. You got everything you need, right? You got the capability, you got the strength, you got the endurance, you got the focus, you got the plan, and the strength and the energy to execute that plan. The super advice here is to just stay zen, right? To relax, to use your mind, not to freaking worry, not to overthink, not to have sleepless nights, not to bitch about things that you cannot change. By the way, whenever you are in that freaking energy, Capricorn, my dear, and I got strong Capricorn in my chart as well, so that speaks to me as well. Nine of Swords, overthinking, stressing about things that you cannot change, it's not helpful. If you are in that funk, sitting literally in your bed, unable to sleep because you're overthinking, then you get up, you either do breath work or you do meditation. So 10 seconds in, 20 seconds out. If you really feel overcharged, if you really feel full of negativity, anger, frustration, guilt, fear, shame, whatever it is, breath work. 10 seconds in, 20 seconds out. Whatever you can do comfortably, halfway comfortably, but it should be, at the end of it, you're really pressing out the air. So don't get dizzy or anything, but, you're really trying to release negativity. The out breath 2 times that of the in breath. 7 seconds in, 14 seconds out, 10 seconds in, 20 seconds out. And then combine that with meditation, and you're using your mind, you're using your consciousness, your focus to release negativity and cultivate stillness and inner strength and inner peace. You're not going to achieve that if you're laying in your bed awake. You're not going to fix the world's problem or your problem at night when you are supposed to be sleeping. So instead of doing that, the answer to the Nine of Swords is always the Four of Swords. Meditation, breathwork. Try that if the next time you're in that frequency. And then you got everything you need to create whatever you want to create. Six of Cups is this beautiful energy where you are reminded that life is not just agonizing and stressful and things like that. You can remember joy and happiness. The universe is giving you something back. Life is giving you something back. There's a new opportunity, and you got, as I said, Page of Pentacles, everything you need to be successful, right? And then you got the Knight of Pentacles, which is literally the next step from the Page of Pentacles to the Knight. So first of all, the universe is telling you got everything you need, the skills, the focus, the mindset, and the Pentacles-wise earthly, physical stuff that you need, Everything will come to you as you need it. And you just keep doing your thing. You just keep going. The Knight of Pentacles is the only stationary knight. He's not moving. Protect what you're doing, what you planted, right? And then there's the Emperor. Okay? That's a very strong combination here. So you're going to have success in whatever you're doing. Just keep doing it and make sure you keep doing it joyfully, lightheartedly, and yes, overthinking energy, but we have already talked about how you deal with that. So how many cards do we got? We got 6 cards. What do I do with that? There's the Page of Cups and the Queen of... the Page of Wands and the Queen of Cups. And let's just do the others too. There is the Judgment card, Waking Up, and then there is the Lovers. Bottom of the deck, it seems like this reading is the answer of what's coming next, or what are you creating, what do you want to create. I'm not telling you the specific form of what you want to create. You should know that yourself, what you're working on, what is important for you, what brings you joy and happiness. Why are you overthinking? What are you overthinking about? As I said, you have to make this distinction and you have to write it down actually. Things that you can change, things that you cannot change. And of course, you know, the wisdom, that's the, I think that's the I'm not sure how it's called in English, but there's actually a very popular poem or quote or prayer even. You know, I have to distinguish between what you can change and what you cannot change. And you have to have the wisdom to make that distinction. So what can you change? And the things that you can change, then you make a list and what can you change and break it down step by step. What is the next step to do to change that? And then you change that. But thinking about stuff that you cannot change, there's only one solution for that, and that is radical acceptance, right? We're living in a time of narcissism, of narcissistic abuse, of toxic, narcissistic, antagonistic people. A very challenging time, 5D consciousness, potentiality, we're bombarded with shadow aspects, confronted with our own shadow aspects, right? So how can you love yourself? How can you respect yourself? And honestly, if you do breath work, you know, 10 seconds in, 20 seconds out, you're releasing negativity. That's kind of the first help, so to speak, right? Or first aid, right? First aid. So when you're in that funk, you do breath work to release the negativity. And then you do meditation. And when you do meditation, you're kind of finding out where it hurts, where it's, you know, where does it feel strange in your consciousness, right? Is there shame, guilt, fear? Is there anger? Is there frustration? What of that? Should just look at it first, you know, while you're meditating. Don't analyze it while you're meditating, but if something strong comes up, you can write it down and then analyze it later. But while you're meditating it, you're just sitting with it. So you're just meditating, you're just accepting what is. And then that's basically how you deal with that Nine of Swords, but we shouldn't talk too much about the Nine of Swords because it is a fantastic reading. The key here is the Six of Cups. Six of Cups, Queen of Cups. You know your own feelings. You respect your own feelings. You don't allow yourself to be drawn into rage and hatred, you know, which is always... There's a justified anger. There's a justified form of, you know, rage even, you know. It can be a catalyst for change. It can be a catalyst to express what needs to be said, you know, but do not allow your anger, your frustration, even guilt, fear, shame, things like that, to draw you into hatred. That would be failure. Then you would become like them, narcissists, toxic, antagonistic people. So know yourself, love yourself, respect yourself. And don't sugarcoat anything to yourself. The Queen of Cups is just aware of her own emotional state, and she's not hiding aspects of herself. If you feel angry, then recognize that, oh, I'm freaking angry. If you're frustrated, oh, I'm frustrated. But have the wisdom to know, do I want to stay there in that frequency, or what can I do to get out of that frequency and channel that energy, that negative energy? If it's too much, you do breath work. But if it's a recurring theme, then the answer is usually to channel your anger, your frustration, all that into something, into building something. There's a lot of energy behind anger, and anger is not necessarily a bad thing, as I said. can be a catalyst for change. It can be a catalyst to make you create something. You know, what do you want to create? What do you want to bring into this world? You got everything you need. You are supported by the universe. Just keep going. There's an endurance showing up every day aspect with the Knight of Pentacles. And bam, there's the Emperor. Okay, the Emperor is really kind of it's the authority figure in whatever you're creating here. Beautiful. Cups energy, there is the Page of Wands, there's the, let's just do this like this, Page of Wands coupled with the Page of Pentacles. We talked about the Page of Pentacles. Page of Wands is kind of light-hearted, you know, so that worrying stuff that kind of has a past energy to it. Don't worry about the past. You are going into a better future and you're already on your way. You know, Page, it's in the beginning stages, but you're on your way. The key is joyful, happy creation, which is the topic for 2026. And then you're waking up to love, Judgment, and the Lovers. Okay, I'm a little skeptic about the Lovers because, you know, in this narcissistic, infested time that we live in, you have to be, literally to be awake, you know, to know that the world is not, they're not only well-meaning people, but they're actually they're covert narcissists, right? Covert narcissists can mask their own destructiveness and rottenness very skillfully, and they can fool a lot of people by wearing that mask of, you know, of the nice little lady or the caring little guy or maybe the caring big guy. You know, you get the idea, right? Covert narcissism is basically the sweetest person you can ever think about. That is actually the worst nightmarish person you can think about. You know, and these people are in this world. They're toxic, antagonistic, narcissistic people, especially covert narcissists, are pretty damn freaking evil. But you know what? As I bitch about that, what comes up as the clarifier, reminding me that I'm bitching about things that I cannot change because the world is as it is. Radical acceptance, you can't change it. You just have to recognize it, and you don't need to talk about it for 5 minutes. That's the Nine of Swords, right? Circling around things that you cannot change and frustrating yourself in the process. That's what I just did, right? Getting hanged on that. Oh my God, it's also, you know, you know that. The thing here is, the story is about the Lovers and the Judgment. You don't be naive, right? Don't be naive. But by all means, don't deny yourself love. And don't deny yourself relationship, because not all of the people are complete retarded psychopaths. There's the Ace of Swords. There's a new idea that is bridging the Pages to the Knight and the Emperor here. So you got an idea, you got a plan. It's not like you're just jolly good fellow. The Page of Wands can be a little naive, but not the Page of Pentacles. Super practical, knows exactly where he wants to go. Super emphasized, since you're going from the Page to the Knight of Pentacles. There is no problem with steadiness and discipline and things like that, and you're executing your plan. So you've got a plan. There's a little playfulness as well, as it should be, with the Page of the Six of Cups and the Queen of Cups. Yeah, you got everything you need to do what brings you joy and happiness, and there's a mastery in this. Yeah, there's your Knight of Wands. You got the Knight of Wands and the Page of Wands, and you got the Page of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. Now you got this couple complete. Take care of your seedlings, and never ever, the Two of Wands is clarified with the Two of Swords. Never lose the connection to your subconsciousness, because the subconscious mind is connected to the all or the unity consciousness. That's your gateway to the divine, actually, to higher guidance, to all that wonderful stuff. Keep that open. Keep that channel open. Don't shove it. Don't use it as your trash can to shove down the aspects of yourself that you don't want, or aspects of the world that you don't want to handle, and feelings about that. Keep your subconscious clean. Meditation, breath work. That's a daily practice. And then you go into that direction that you want to go into, happiness, joy, and you create what you want to create. One freaking step at a time. It's not a race. Make it playful, make it joyful while you're on your path. But with the Knight of Pentacles is protecting these little seedlings that you have planted, and you nurture them with love. Give yourself more credit. You're doing the best you can. Cut yourself some slack. Well done. Hello. Self-love is the necessary precondition for every other form of love. So, right? There's the Lovers, and never accept disrespect. That's what I read here as well. If you look outside, you're dreaming. If you look inside, you're awakening. That's definitively going here with the judgment card. Meditation, breathwork, that's a daily practice. Forget labels, just be yourself. Be a beautiful freak if you want to be a beautiful freak. Be a beautiful, complete normie if you want to do that, right? But probably you wouldn't watch this video, right? If you were a perfect normie, right? Learn to look with an equal eye upon all beings, seeing the one in all, which is a freaking hard thing to do. But the most common form of despair is not being who you are. Love yourself, respect yourself, show up as who you truly are, and learn to look with an equal eye upon all beings, seeing the one in everything. Srimad Bhagavatam, we said that. And, Tattvamasi, and that too. So if you're talking about narcissistic people, toxic people, antagonistic people even, they are Tattvamasi, also an emanation of the divine, right? Dog shit on the sidewalk is an emanation of the divine. Yumi, whatever, the emanation of the divine. So it's a little more complex than this black-white, good-evil thinking that we are kind of spoon-fed when we grow up, right? It's a little more complex. The universe is a little bigger than what human beings can conceptualize. And if you meditate, if you do breath work to release negativity and then do meditation, you're getting in contact with that higher understanding. Not because you understand it, but you are an expression of the higher understanding, so to speak, comes to you and visits you and says, hey, did you notice? It's a little more complex. And it's not like you're getting an idea or you're getting an intellectual insight, but it's like when you jump into a swimming pool, you're just embraced by it. It's, I don't know how to explain it. You have to experience it, and it took me quite a long time to get to a place where I actually could do meditations like every day. I think it took me 15 years to get there, but it doesn't mean that you take 15 years to get there. You can, there's no, I'm just a little weirdo on the internet, so you don't need 15 years to learn meditation. There are people who just sit down and they have been meditating their entire life, so they don't even know what the fast is all about. So whatever you are, there are so many people with different experiences. transformation is beautiful. Archangel Michael, Blue Angel Oracle deck. This is a card speaks about universal divine embrace. You know, you're embraced, you're held, you're not lost, you're not, you know, you just where you are, period. And you're going your way and you got everything you need. You're on the right path. You're executing your idea. Make it playful. Make it easier. Don't see it so freaking hard all the freaking time. And if you love yourself, if you know, if you're in a place of inner peace and restedness, you know, there's the Lovers on the table, right? Yeah, and that's all I got. And I hope it resonates with you. Share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. And there's the summer reading for 2026. There's the yearly reading for 2026. If you want the full picture, you can check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. Yeah, and that's all I got. Hopefully see you next time. Now, bye, my friend. Ciao.